Totally slipping. Hold on.
You gonna make me one for when my fat ass comes out there?
Okay, hold on. Always do the 10-second delay. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? I know y'all can't see me. There we go. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a legendary day. It is hot. It's like 1,000,000 degrees here. Man, I hate black being my favorite color sometimes. Anyway, so today we got Jason. We're going to go ahead and get in some O-line discussion. Jason, of course, you didn't have an opportunity to, but we're obviously talking O-line, so we have to have a little bit of an Alex Mack talk. And, of course, get Jason's quick thoughts on number 21 coming home, where, let's be honest, he should have never left. But before we do all that, of course, y'all got to know, make sure to listen to the end of the show to get a special coupon code for the Faithful by the Faithful Season 2 apparel available exclusively at NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop. Shop Niner Faithful Radio or shop 49ers.com. Affiliate link available in the description of the podcast and video. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. And go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, and follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and at Niner Faithful R on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, faithful of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
All right, what's cracking, y'all? We gotta make that intro slightly longer. So yeah, Jason, to start off the show, quick thoughts on Frankie Gangster coming home, and really just not even Niner career, just a hell of a career when you think about literally the man tearing both knees and playing more games at running back than anybody in NFL history.
I mean, it was expected. It's good to see.
Formality.
I was a little disappointed in the fact that we had him and Alex Mack on the same day. I thought they should have staggered it and gave us more of a, like, hey, this Friday, come out, see Frank, blah, 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 something like that, instead of just doing them both in one day. I mean, and Alex Mack has had a good career in his own right, but,
Frank deserves his own day.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about the inconvenient truth here. It should have been like a week. Hey, like I said, they should have done more with it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have done Alex Mack like one day, and then like 3 or 4 days later, be like, hey, and by the way, but I mean, it's good to see. Yeah, by the way, Frank Gore's going to, sign the contract. So I thought they should have done more with it, but it was going to happen at some point. Whenever, if he played 20,000 more years, or whenever he decided to retire, you knew he was going to sign that one-day contract. It
was a formality, and to me, I think I've heard one of the best arguments for Frank Gore being a Hall of Famer this week with Dave Lombardi. I watched a video this week, and to me, he made a great point where it's, look, one of the knocks against Patrick Willis is longevity, right? That's one of the knocks you always hear about Patrick Willis, because the resume, and assuming he would have continued for the amount of career that people think is necessary, and we all assume that he would have continued at that production. The productivity is not the issue. He was literally probably the best linebacker. Maybe you could say 2012, 2013 is when it might have transitioned to NaVorro Bowman. 2013, if he doesn't blow out his knee, NFC Championship game, I think NaVorro Bowman probably would have been 1A and Patrick Willis would have maybe been 1B. But still, like a Hall of Fame, no doubt a Hall of Fame, a Brian Urlacher type of career.
Yeah.
So you use that argument for Patrick Willis, and then you look at Frank and you say, well, Frank Gore's a stat pattern. Look at all games he played. Well, you can't use Patrick Willis's longevity against him and then use the fact that the man's played more games at fucking running back than anybody in NFL history against that. That doesn't make any sense. And that to me is like, look, if you say the NFL is getting more to a passing league, and I understand he played in generally the bulk of his career in a different era, but it's, I mean, Bill Walsh, the passing game since the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now the 2020s, you're seeing it's becoming more of a passing league. So the fact that this man is third all time in rushing yards. Look, is Frank Gore the third greatest running back of all time? No. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, and I hate to say it, Emmitt Smith are probably the three that come to mind. I just say those are the three. But he's it's just, it's starting to become a joke almost. Like, it's almost just starting to become like, I just don't get it.
You've heard it for like the last 3 or 4 years. Does he have a Hall of Fame career? He never led the league in rushing, touchdown, anything, but he was always a top 5.
And it's to me,
you know what I mean? So it's like, so what? He's just in there always producing no matter what he does. Different offenses, different lines, different everything. He produces in everything that he does.
And playing, and I understand they weren't, towards the tail end of Frank's Niner run, they were, good, but a lot of let's be real, we all know Frank played for some garbage Niner teams. And but when you playing for the San Francisco 49ers is different than playing for the Detroit Lions. You have just the Niners have a national sell. When ESPN runs Niner stuff on their network, people are going to watch because you either love us or you hate us.
Yep.
That's it. Just, we are the Manchester United, from what I've been told. We're the Manchester United of football. You either love us or we're the Yankees. We're the Lakers and the Celtics. You either love us or you hate us. There's no in between. And so that matters. So Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer. Now, fine, you don't want to give him the first year of eligibility. Of course, Niner fans are going to bitch and complain, and I'm going to do a whole rant about how he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But fine, if you fuck out of here. But if you make Frank Gore wait
5, 6 years, like
some of these guys, come on, let's.
If he has to wait to get in by the veteran committee, I might burn cans.
That's not happening. That's a fucking travesty. Okay. Second of all, I love the man to death, but Frank Gore gets in before Patrick Willis.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not ashamed to say that. Patrick Willis deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I can see him being a veteran committee.
Yeah, because of the short amount of time. Yeah. He would qualify for more because he'll be like, oh, wait a minute. I played against this guy. He wasn't there long, but damn, when he was there, he was good.
It was you. And see, the thing about Patrick Willis is it wasn't a scent. It was bam. Right from his first fucking game. He had, I think it was 21 tackles. Or it was a preseason game, I think. It was something ridiculous. Like, I remember going to training camp his rookie year, and I was like, who the fuck is this? Like 52. Like, I knew who it was Patrick Willis, but I was like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And that's when I first started getting into the draft and all that. And because the Niners we had 2 first-round picks. Anyway, Frank Gore, Hall of Famer. Couldn't put it best. That's why he's on the wall. So you notice there's only one poster of a player up there. Just saying. So moving on, O-line. So why we think about that, I think the 5 starters are pretty set. The only one I guess you could flex would be center. And then if you're flexing center, who is right guard? I haven't played Zakelj play, much or practice or whatever, but I'm of the mind that our best offensive line might be Brunskill at center and Jalen Moore at right guard.
I would disagree.
Really? You think Brunskill? Keep Brunskill at guard?
Yep, and you keep Brendel at center. Trey took all them second team reps last year with Jake Brendel. And I'm not against Brunskill playing center in the least. I think he would be a pretty good bridge to whoever is the next center. But right now, Trey and Brendel have that connection. They know each other for that, that pivotal spot snap all the time. So, you're going to have Aaron Banks step in on one side. Okay. You can have Trent Williams cover that for a little bit. Brendel can step up in there. And then you can have, Brunskill help him out with whatever he needs. And then you got Mike Lynch on the other side who'll be fine. So I think, you leave Brunskill there and you leave Brendel right in the middle.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that I think one of the most just like people respect it, but it's just one of those things that like nobody ever says, oh man, that's an amazing snap. It's just thought of one of those things. It's like, it's the basic, like football at its very basic core is the center snapping the ball to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things that it's like so elementary that it's never praised because you're just expected. Like, that's why you're the starting center and the starting quarterback. The part of you being the starting center, because let's be real, if you have a starting, you're not going to, if there's problems with the center quarterback issue, you're going to find a new center. You're generally not going to find a new quarterback. So part of being the center, the starting center is, yes, snapping the ball to the fucking quarterback.
They just got the familiarity with each other. They did it all last season. Yeah, and like I said, Brunskill would be fine. I would prefer him staying at guard, keep that continuity there with him and Glynchy on that side, and then just let Brendel and Trey have their side, and then you just got to really cover for Aaron Banks.
And I think that to back you up more, Jason, and actually further commit me switching, is that everything's been fine with Trey. Like, we've all heard positives. Everything's fine. But there's no D-line. There's no time clock. There's no, hey, you would have been sacked here. There's none of that. And there's not even preseason. Where even though it's not even preseason. And so when everything's flying, okay, and everything's flying and bullets are real, and Trey's got a process and all eyes are on him and everything's different. The last thing I want my quarterback thinking is about the snap.
Mm-hmm.
As he's walking up to the line, or even as he's, getting set and scanning the defense, the last thing I want him thinking about is the snap. So
you're hoping that's
right.
Pretty simple and straight to the point.
Trey didn't get many quote unquote starter rep things last year, but the one thing he got plenty of reps of was snaps from Brendel.
That he
And
did.
so I agree with you. All right, that. Okay, so we're just going to go offensive lineman by lineman real quick. Well, not real quick. We're going to give y'all a breakdown. Obviously, we're going to start with the best, and that is the silverback. Fucking A. The silverback, Trent Williams. Jason and I were having an interesting conversation about. It really wasn't a conversation about Trent Williams' longevity, but that kind of been a sidebar conversation that we had. And we're guessing about 2-3 years more for Trent Williams. But I think it's going to be 2 years of fucking damn good football. And I think that the one thing that makes me feel, and we'll get to him next, is with Aaron Banks, is that he just has to be serviceable. That's it. Just don't be one of the worst guards in the league. And I think the Niners O-line will be fine.
Yeah.
My worry is he going to be that? And I want to say this, and I'll let you give your thoughts on Trent Williams, is he showed his dedication this year. So it's not going to be a work ethic issue with Aaron Banks. But Jason, your thoughts on Trent Williams? He's going to make
the
the
big
roster,
dog,
by the way.
Yeah. He's the big man on campus. He's obviously the leader on that line and the team in general. Like you said, he's been in the league for 12 years, going to the year 13. I mean, he's probably got, like we talked about, 2-3 years as still the man for, obviously maybe he plays until he's 40, but typically about 12 to 15 years is when you start to see that your body breaks down. So if you're going by that standard, he's got a couple more years at the top before you start seeing a decline. Maybe he goes against the grain and he's good for another 5 or 6 years. Even better. But
Yeah.
like I said, you have to go on that old man time catches everybody. And it's something that you have to plan for. And I think by looking at the draft from this year, it has been planned for.
I think that, and we'll get into this more and more. Eric Davis calls them damn dudes. He's like, to be a championship team, you have to have damn dudes. And I think that any person who talks about any type of playoff, Super Bowl aspiration, this ambitions this year, Trent Williams is one of the players that you say that is one of the reasons you say they have this. Hey, they have a chance to blank. And Trent Williams is one of the players that you list why. I think that's very clear. Next, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Aaron Banks. I was just saying a minute ago. It reshaped his body. And
he looks good now.
Yeah, it shows that he wants it. It shows that he's dedicated. It shows he's willing to put in the hard work. But sometimes a scheme fit ain't a scheme fit. And before the show, I was listening on to Locked On 49ers. And he was talking about this draft and how we have a zillion guards pretty much. Or at least a zillion interior linemen. Doesn't look good for Aaron Banks. Now, I'm not talking about him not making the team. And I think he will start. Unless, Jalen Moore, who we'll get to later, comes in and blows, fucking shit out the water and everything.
Yeah, he's almost given that opportunity with the high pick.
He's going to be given the opportunity to lose his job.
Yeah. Trying to find a picture of
whether
him
that's
it shows him what he looks like, and I can't find one because he came in looking good in camp. I was like, damn.
Looking damn good. Now it's going to be his job to lose, whether that be in camp or during the season. So I'm curious to see. I think it's going to be an interesting battle, him and Jalen Moore. Like I said, ultimately he's going to have the job to lose, but I think that it's something that Jalen Moore is going to be nipping on his heels. And so, if like I said, if Aaron Banks can just be serviceable, I think we'll be fine. But if he's not, I think it's something definitely that they won't hesitate to go to Jalen Moore too.
Yeah, I believe that.
Thoughts on Aaron Banks, Jason?
He is that like a lot of people talked about last year with the drafting of him, and that we were going to go to a more power running game, because we also picked up Sermon and all those picks, and we're like, are we going to go away and start running up the middle more? Obviously, that didn't happen, with neither of them actually turning out great last season. So maybe this is the year for both of them that they could possibly pick it up. I would love to see a little bit more of a tougher running game per se. A little bit more ground and pound up the middle, especially because there was a ton of times we just got stopped, between the guards over and over. And at his size, he should be pushing people around. So I'm hoping that he makes it. And if not, I think there's a couple people behind him that can do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's this year. I think the mindset of, because clearly with this draft, not even at guard.
Don't die on me, man.
The Gatorade went down the wrong pipe. That's why I was coughing. Anyway, I had to mute my mic. Anyway, so this draft was an eye to the future, a development.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, if you throw enough darts at a dart, if you throw enough shit at the wall, something's gonna stick.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Now I went ahead and we're going a little out of order, but Mike McGlinchey. I think Mike McGlinchey's intriguing because you and I tend to disagree a little bit on Mike McGlinchey, where I do believe he's a top 10 tackle. I do. And I ultimately do think the Niners are going to keep him. And I think he is drafted for what we drafted him for, which is being a run first football team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not mad that the Niners drafted Mike McGlinchey or anything like that. But I just feel that the Niners are going to sign him because they drafted him. They know the guy, whatever. They're going to overpay. But I think that's just going to be because there'll probably be a few teams, but I don't think it's going to get in a crazy bidding war. The one thing that I think is going to drive up the price the most, and I hope that doesn't happen, is Philly starts to bid.
They've got to be running out of money, though.
Yeah, but you can always make money for what you want. And Mike McGlinchey, Philly kid coming home,
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Maybe they don't need a right guard or whatever. I'm not going to pretend like I even know the Eagles roster. But just something that, money talks. And I've always gotten the vibe of Mike McGlinchey feels like a Niner. I felt like Eric Armstead feels like a Niner. Jimmy Ward feels like a Niner. These are like, I'm trying to think of an example. If you believed what's reported, Debo it doesn't feel like a Niner. If you believe what's reported, and how he doesn't want to be here. Nick Bosa, I believe Nick Bosa, I think for the right price would leave.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not even talking about they just blow a team out the water. You know, like 10, 15, 20 million dollars more. You know. But I think I don't believe that Nick Bosa's loyalties to the Niners. And ultimately everybody's loyalties to themselves, but I feel a different vibe. I could see Nick Bosa ending his career in a Niner uniform. I could even see him and his brother teaming up and going to Miami. Now the Niners have control of that because you could throw enough cash at them that puts a squash to that hope. You know, throw enough cash at his way. You know, it's going to end to that. But I mean, he's going to get re-signed. This is not something I think is going to happen anytime soon. But Trent Williams feels like a Niner. Like it felt like he wanted to be here. Now I think that's more of a loyalty to Kyle Shanahan than to the Niners.
Oh yeah.
I think that if Kyle Shanahan was on the Vikings, Trent Williams gets traded to the Vikings.
Yeah. Kyle wanted him, and Kyle was willing to give up a lot to get him.
Well, we really didn't give up as much as you would think.
Well, you know what I mean. Like he was willing to go after Trent Williams.
He was willing to pay a lot to keep him.
Yeah.
Like, can we both agree that the decision to pay Trent Williams what he was paid was Kyle's basically saying, no, you're doing this?
Yeah, I figure he's like, you're going to pay him what he needs.
Yeah,
what he wants, give it to him.
Yeah, I think that's what it came down. I think when Trent Williams made that call to Kyle and said, hey, I'm going to dinner, I'm going to make my decision when I leave dinner, I think Kyle picked up the phone and said, get it done.
Yeah, give him the extra half a meal or whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, or whatever the fuck it was.
And his
but even that, I would like to think it was a couple million.
Well, whatever it was.
Because when you're talking about $500K over a $80 million guaranteed, you know, or whatever. I don't know what it is. But yeah, exactly. And you want to, like I said, I could see Nick Bosa doing that. But I can see Debo doing that. I don't see Brandon Ayuk feels like a Niner. I see Brandon Ayuk as a long-term Niner, grew up a Niner fan. But anyway, okay, so moving on, Mike McGlinchey. Ultimately, he's intriguing because you and I were discussing everybody's just assuming that he's just going to hop right back in. And I think that there's always he's always going to have his struggles. But you can't have the best at your position at every position. And I am confident to say that if Mike McGlinchey is the Niners' worst problem, well, isn't that why you got a mobile quarterback, A? And B, I think I'm okay because that means 4/5 of the other offensive line is fine. That means Aaron Banks is playing at a great level. That means Zakelj hasn't been an issue. Because any quarterback will tell you the pressure they hate the most is right up the gut.
Well, yeah, because it gives them no room to escape.
Yeah.
But when you look at the draft of Zakelj, like I was talking about earlier, we've drafted for the future, there is a ton, even though Zakelj wasn't known by a lot of people, insiders were talking about how coaches love him. They love his size. They love the way he moves. You know, we always talk about McGlinchey's too high in pass protection. He's a little bit shorter than McGlinchey. He weighs a little bit more because we have always talked about how McGlinchey looks like he should be playing tight end, not line.
Yeah.
So
slim.
You compact McGlinchey a little bit more, and you put someone who has supposedly one of the highest IQs of a tackle in the draft to replace him. But I still think like we were talking about for Trent Williams, 2 more years. McGlinchey's got 2 more years.
No, this is his last year.
Or last year, I'm sorry. Like, but if you extend him.
Yeah. I don't see, I would say that he's going to sign no less than 3 with the option of 4.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Mike, and fine if that's your future. See, and we'll get into it when we get to all these players. But I don't care what the rest of the league thinks as teams. What was Bill Walsh? Bill Walsh drafted a receiver out of Clemson that nobody thought of or probably even ever heard of. He found a receiver out of little-known Mississippi Valley State. I don't think Joe Montana was so much of a stretch because, he came from Notre Dame and he had a reputation.
Yeah, he was going to be good in the NFL regardless of where he went, more likely.
Yeah, it's not like he's Tom Brady here. I think if you would say the discussion of Joe should have been the first round pick of the 79 draft. That's a little bit of a stretch to say that, like, hell, there's probably some
damn good college career.
There were some people who I bet you there's enough people, and maybe not even Niner fans, just general because of course there's a lot of Niner fans, but just general football fans of a certain era, they would probably take in an all-time NFL draft. They would probably take Joe Montana number 1.
It's hard to argue it.
Yeah, I think that or even opponents of that era. I think that would be the most respect to Joe too. I think that would be the most respectful thing to Joe is to have a draft of certain. So you say you have a draft of players from the 80s. Or you just pull it for whatever, and you say, okay, who would you take? You have a draft, first round draft, whatever. Draft a starting team. I think that players of the 80s. It's good.
I might draft LT.
There's gonna be LT or Charles Haley. Look.
Yeah. Exactly.
Truthfully, if the Niners have the second pick, because if the Niners have the first pick, they're taking Joe Montana.
Would you?
Yeah. I say
I build it on defensive end. That's me.
But my thing, but the 2 things I'll say, and it's if the Niners had the second overall, this is a 2019 draft, right? Niners take either LT or Charles Haley. I think that. So second overall might go LT or Charles Haley. Probably LT. Probably LT.
I would take a top tier D end over a quarterback. Because it's easier to build quarterback good weapons around him. Which is, if you look, is what we've done with Jimmy.
I mean, okay. Me personally, I'm running this draft. I always draft Jerry Rice first overall. I just do, because I saw Jerry catch passes from quarterbacks whose names I can't even remember right now, and do his thizzle. You feel me? I mean, Jerry Rice, from the age of 31, had a whole separate Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking Jerry Rice, but I think the first quarterback to go, truthfully, honestly, if you're talking modern day NFL, I think you're drafting Steve. No, really, honestly, you're actually drafting John Elway. You're drafting John Elway.
I'd still take Vic or Steve McNair.
No, I'm talking about players of the 80s. So players of the 80s have to pick. Yeah, I honestly, it's going to be one of the
second overall pick.
It's going to be second of the big three, Elway, Montana, Marino. It's going to be one of those three. Those are going to be the first three quarterbacks taken. And honestly, they might go the first three picks.
But McGlinchey.
But yeah, anyway, but McGlinchey. So I think that you could do better than Mike McGlinchey. But hey, like I said, if Mike McGlinchey can go on and be the worst offensive lineman, I think that either the Niners have horrible problems or it's actually a good thing. And I don't think he's going to be the worst.
He was what? Before his injury last year, he was ranked what, 5th?
I believe
6th in the league. And Trent was 2 or something like that, 1 or 2. I think that was, right before his injury. He was up there playing some damn good football.
Now, this is curious. You've heard the Aaron Banks argument, or I'll come back to that. Now, to me, first of all, when we get to Daniel Brunskill, can we give a round of applause to a man that he's had a damn good NFL career? I mean,
Shouldn't
I did
be on
not
a team
think
anywhere. Shouldn't be starting.
I mean, I think that we can definitely say that when he came in, we didn't think we would be in 2022 talking about Daniel Brunskill, and damn sure not being a starter.
No.
Or if he was, something with the Niners gone horribly wrong.
Well, this time last year, we were talking about our best offensive line was with him as the 6th man.
Yeah. That's really what it is. If we can get to the level of play that Daniel Brunskill is the first man off the bench at interior, I know he could play swing tackle, but I like him better than the interior, and I would rather develop a swing tackle. Burford, some of the players that were Jalen Moore. I know they want to play him at guard, but
I think he's played his way
Jason
out
Poe.
of being the 6th man on the offensive line. He put some respect on his name. He is a starter now.
He is a starter, but yeah. Okay. So then, how long is he the starter then?
Not very long.
I want to respect Daniel Brunskill, and I want to say, look, I don't think he's gonna. He's fine, but I mean,
he's 28, so kind of like with the rest of the guys, 2 or 3 more years before he's got these younger options.
Would you believe that the team believes, whether it happens or not, the team believes that they drafted his replacement this year?
I don't think it's necessarily his replacement, but we needed options on the interior, whether it was at center or either guard position. But I could see some of these guys being a possible replacement for him. But I'm not. Okay. I don't think we deliberately went out to get Daniel Brunskill's replacement.
You're right. I said it wrong because that makes it think like they went in, oh my God, we got to replace Daniel Brunskill. No, I don't think they did. I think that they're just like, look, either they're going to be better and we play the better player, or he's going to be better and we play the better player. I mean, I'm totally fine with that. Okay. Jake Brendel. Now, this is going to be a little interesting. We obviously talked about him, and do you believe he's long-term, or the team has an idea like Donovan West or somebody else coming in and eventually being the full-time starter?
I just froze up, so I didn't hear a thing you just said.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, I was like, okay, my bad. Do you believe the Niners? Basically, do you believe that he's going to be the long-term solution, or they're saying, hey, he can hold it down until we develop somebody else?
I think it's both with him. He is young enough to where he could be a long-term replacement at center. But again, with what we've drafted, we have guys who can push for that position.
Okay. I like, and I mean, if he ends up just becoming where it's just he's a 10-year starter and everything, I have no problem with that.
I don't think he'll go that long, but I think he could go 4 or 5.
Okay, fine, cool. I have no problem with that.
So,
and like I said, I was trying to say earlier before we went on that rant, I believe the Niners are in good hands in the future. I trust the future of this football team that could be competitive. I believe that we're at the age where overall football team, you may have some positions of question mark, but the overall football team, we could say is going to be competitive, and I expect to make the playoffs.
yeah.
I got real quick before we move on, I saw this. I guess Vegas has Niners at over under 10 wins. What are you going, over or under?
I push and just keep it at 10.
You push?
I can see 10, but there's so many factors to where, like, I think 10 will get you into the playoffs. I truly do believe that, especially in the NFC. And there's so much with this team that is slightly unknown. I could see it easily swaying one way or the other.
I think Vegas hit right on the odds because if you ask me to bet my life savings, I'm pushing. I'm saying 10 wins. If you're asking me to bet my life savings, but my heart tells me 11. I could see 10 or 11. I could see 11. This is me and Brian discussed this, and we'll get to the offensive line here back in a little bit, but I wanted to get to this because you weren't able to go. I wanted to get to this last week. To me, I think two things. If two things can happen, if the secondary can truly be better, and I mean not just serviceable and Travarius Ward. No, I'm talking about a legit secondary. In combination with the D line, where Jimmy Ward's pushing for a Pro Bowl, maybe Travarius Ward is pushing for a Pro Bowl. And the O-line, obviously, of course, Trey, but the O-line, I think if these two things can hold up and be a little bit of a surprise, I think we're a legit Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I think we are too.
If one of those teams, one of those two things are average, I think that we can make some noise. And all of a sudden, the division, if you say that we hold court and the Niners, you know what? Let's take a Twitch commercial and we'll run this on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll get back to the O-line with the Twitch commercial. I'm going to put a timer on me on this conversation. If you tell me that we hold serve and there's nothing out there that the Yams figured out, and it was just you can only win so many in a row before you beat while you're beating a professional football team. Hey, thanks, Jose. I really appreciate it, brother. Good to see you.
Thank you, man.
Can't wait. You're going to be at the preseason tailgates, where there's only going to be one, so I'm assuming that we're going to do a preseason tailgate. Also, later after we end the show, I want to real quick talk to you about Miami. Anyway, if you tell me that the Niners, if those two things happen, We can win the division. We hold serve against the Yams. I mean, we sweep them or whatever. And, surprise, go Niners, bro. And a few things happen. Maybe we shock the world, and I shouldn't say shock the world, but we beat Kansas City. Some things that happen. Maybe we don't struggle as much early in the year as we think we will. The bye comes later, so we're more rested. And all of a sudden you find yourself in the NFC Championship game. Like if you win the division and you clinch the number 1 seed in a year where the NFC's down, we play Tampa. All of a sudden we beat Tampa. Or even if it is Green Bay, we own Green Bay. All of a sudden we find ourselves in the NFC Championship game. You win one game. And it's holy shit, we're in the NFC Championship game and we're 1 win away from the Super Bowl. And all of a sudden it's a team like Green Bay, where you're like, oh wow, this is a team we own. And this is legit. Wow. Holy shit. With Trey Lance, won a division. Seahawks are garbage. Maybe the Cardinals are a little worse than people expect. And maybe the Yams have a Super Bowl hangover. And we win the division, and all of a sudden we win a playoff game against a weak team, that we beat, and all of a sudden we're playing the Yams again. Or we're playing whoever. I think that's possible. But
the NFC's weak enough to where anything happen.
But I also see it being a straight possibility that, Trey struggles a little bit and we bury ourselves in a little bit of a hole. And this isn't 2021 and we can't climb our way out of it. I can see that happen. Now, look, if we got 9 wins, would I be a little disappointed? Depending on things that happen. What are the circumstances that cause that? You feel me? But in a 9-win season, I want to see progression. If we start the year 3-5 like we did last year, but we end on a hot streak, Trey's looking better, and things like that, I'm perfectly fine with that. But if we can start off 3-0, 4-0, I think this team can make some noise. All right, on to Spencer Burford, who my boy, big shout out to CG Ruthless. I did an interview with him before the draft, and so it was really, really dope. And I'm actually, you know what, CG, I'm waiting. Chris, I'm waiting for that video. I haven't seen it, so if you watch this video, hit me up. Send me the link because he told him if the Niners drafted him, he was going to jump in the pool or something. So I'm curious if he did that. I want to see that video. I didn't forget. I watched it. I promise. But also this is a way to see if you watched the show. But that's a Slytherin in me. Very cunning. Anyway, by the way, we're going to be starting. My bad, y'all. I'm going to say this. We're going to be starting. Me and the girl are going to be starting Harry Potter podcast here within the next month or two, called the Partial Tongue Podcast. Look out for that. We're gonna be doing that here soon. We're actually working on. I got the logo already and all sorts of shit. But anyway, Spencer Burford is somebody I like developmentally. I like his versatility. Tell me he could be a tackle guard. I like his athleticism. I believe when somebody who will get laced into Jason Poe, and a lot of what I hear about Jason Poe is he's just his height. Everything else off the charts. This dude would be seriously a legitimate day 2, definitely day 3 pick. Jason Poe would have been if he was 6'4". If he had Spencer Burford's measurables, Jason Poe's a day two pick. Maybe a first rounder. Late.
Well, what is it? Kuiper said he's the best pulling guard in the last 5 years to come out of college. That tells you a lot.
So,
because there's been some good guards that have come out.
So Sanford Burford is interesting developmental piece that is one of the reasons that I'm like, hey, you know what? The Niners may got something. I mean, they have him listed at 6'5", 300 pounds. Now, you add whatever baby fat, and you're going to add a good, I would say, over the course of 2-3 years, you're going to add a good 15, 20 pounds. I mean, shit, you could really add that probably in the off season. So imagine what his body's going to look like.
Too.
Well, imagine what his body's going to look like 2-3 years down the line. If indeed Mike McGlinchey gets that 4-year contract, the 3-year with a 4th-year option, Spencer Burford might be one of those people that you're like, hey, you know what? We don't have to pick up that 4th-year option. We have this man who's cheaper because Trey's out of his rookie contract by then. So, assuming, Trey sticks around. But, I believe that this is one of the things that might be the reason Mike McGlinchey ain't a career-long Niner. And Jason, thoughts on Spencer Burford?
He is, to me, the most, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to him, I think he is the most unknown of what we have for the draft picks that we picked up for future startings. I think he has, and I don't know how to put it without, I don't think he's bad, but I think the other ones that we have are better. And a lot of it is because of his weight. He's 300, so he would need to put on that some weight.
15,
but then again, we've been dealing with that with McGlinchey. So,
yeah.
But otherwise, when it comes to like arm length and all that kind of stuff, I think he's got incredible measurables. So, but like I said, I think some of the other people that we have a higher upside from what I've seen right now.
Yeah, definitely, but a developmental piece. And hey, you know what? You need backups too.
Yeah.
Let's be real. In hindsight, we would have needed somebody to go into the fucking NFC Championship game last year. Super Bowl on the line. Just saying. All right. Now on to a man we mentioned, Mr. Jason Poe. Jason, I'm gonna let you take this away, bro, because I've
loved him since a long time.
This is your dude. This is your dude.
So we label Debo an offensive weapon because of his versatility. I want to name Jason Poe an offensive player. I don't think he can be limited to just a particular group because, well, like I said, he is short. Yes, we know he's only 6'5", or excuse me, he's only 6'1", or no, he's 6. He's 6 foot. Yeah, he's 6 foot even. He doesn't have the greatest arm length and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So we know he doesn't have the greatest measurables when it comes to him. But then just look at the versatility he brings. He could play guard. He can play center. He can play tackle. He can play tight end. He can play fullback. He could, we're talking about who's going to be the swing tackle. Why not him? Hell, put that man in with a wildcat and let him do a little jump pass for all I care. To me, I have a hard time seeing him making the 53 unless something shows up in practice to where he's your backup everywhere. He's Daniel Brunskill for every position on the offense in general. I think we need him. Oh, go ahead.
So Brian Peacock on Locked On 49ers said you do this formation where you put him in the backfield, swing Debo out of the backfield.
I know which one you're talking about. I listened to the same one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know where you're going.
yeah, but an amazing play, or the Trent Williams play that you and me were screaming at for them to use more last year.
And now you just
him-
add Jason Poe to it.
to me, see, I before training camp, please let me watch this man and everything in camp and with my own eyes and everything. But I trust you, but I might disagree with you a little bit on he doesn't make the 53.
No, I think it's hard finding him. He's going to have a definitive role on like special teams.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
It's
but
because you can't label,
he's
you
a
just can't
football
stick
player.
him. Yeah, because it's going to be hard to place him in as just a lineman. You know what I mean? Because if you look at what else we have in the lineman, you can easily say, okay, this is better, this is better, this is better. But like I said, Debo's an offensive weapon. Jason Poe is your offensive player. Because I honestly think he can do anything. I've watched enough tape on him where it's just like, this kid is going to be a Swiss Army knife, a Swiss Army knife.
Send me some tape. Hey Kim, long time no see.
Hello, Kim.
Or at least you not putting comments. But yeah, so I agree with you. Somehow, some way, this man has to be because
he's not making enough waivers. He's not making.
No, he's not. And I know everybody always says that there's always that one player that everybody swears in whatever. But to me, you've shown me some shit that I looked at and I was like, yeah, there's a little something here. Like they said on that podcast, you don't have to know much about football just to point and be like something different about him. Like he's just not like everybody else on the field.
Like I said, just do a jet sweep with Debo running by him and Trent Williams and Juice. Get out of the way. Just move.
Call it concussion left.
Yeah, some shit, Bigum's
something
left.
Like that. Okay. So this is where the struggle we have every time about this year is it's a numbers game. The Niners only kept 8 offensive linemen last year. I actually have the roster breakdown. So you've got 2 quarterbacks, that's going to stay the same. 4 running backs, that's going to stay the same. Fullback, so 5 with Juice. 6 receivers. Don't see that changing. 3 tight ends, I don't see that changing. Right? I mean, I don't see that changing. 8 offensive linemen, 11 D linemen, 5 backers, 6 corners, 4 safeties, and 3 specialists. I don't see those numbers changing.
No, I can see it still being the same.
So maybe 1 less D lineman, but I don't think that's going to happen because that's what we built this football team on. So that's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah, because we haven't even gone over like Colton McKivitz, Justin School.
I mean, we still got
Donovan West.
Donovan West is actually who we're going to get into now. Nick Zakelj, Jalen Moore, Colton McKivitz, Justin School. The last 2. And
what are we going to do with Alfredo Gutierrez?
Doesn't he have 1 more year of an exemption?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, is he improved and played enough to where maybe next year he takes it? You know what I mean? It's like, is it a project?
Okay, so future.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, it's coming down between Justin School, Colton McKivitz, Jalen Moore, Nick Zakelj, and Donovan West. They're keeping Donovan West.
Yeah.
I
could see him dropping Keaton in School.
So this is what I think. I think it's going to be between Jalen Moore's Nick Zakelj and Colton McKivitz, and then Justin School and maybe Schrader or Sutherland or something like that.
For your 8?
Yeah, for the 8. I think ultimately Justin. I think ultimately Justin School makes it, and Jalen Moore and Nick Sakel, and then you got Donovan West. Is ultimately what I think happens.
So that'd be 9 then.
Okay, I get you, Kim. I get you. You never miss a show. I know, love. I know. That's 9.
Yeah, if you're adding in Donovan West, I think you said 9. So you got the
'Cause you
starting
got
5.
your
And who
5.
else?
Jalen Moore, Justin School.
Zakel or
Oh
School.
shit, Sakel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
okay,
said
Zakel
Zakel said
and
2.
West. So it's about whether you can get Zakel or Donovan West on the practice squad then. So that
I would
it's gonna be real interesting.
with what we got.
I think
I
it's
almost
gotta be
want
Donovan
to
West.
drop Colton and Justin.
Yeah. Well, then okay, so then who are you keeping instead of Justin? Because you gotta have a swing tackle. So who's your swing tackle?
For swing, let's see. Sutherland? Jalen Moore? Well, if you're going to keep somebody specifically, just put Jason Poe there.
Okay.
Because, I mean, your swing tackle is going to be, how do I put it? Has to be a little bit more versatile.
Jalen Moore makes sense because he can play. They want him at guard and he can play tackle.
Yeah, so he's your backup at that spot.
Because it's going to be okay. Because it's going to be the starting 5, right?
Yeah,
and then
Jalen Moore. So we agree on 6.
Yeah.
So we got 2 spots.
So then you're going Zakel and West, right? So that means you're saying bye-bye to Kivitz and bye-bye to Justin School.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. And I know because you can also have Donovan West be the backup to Brendel. I mean, granted, you still have
Brunskill, he's going to be the backup. He's going to be backup center, and they're going to cross train him at guard.
Yeah, but I still think I think if something happens to Brendel, Brunskill automatically jumps over to center. So I think he's your backup center.
Yeah. So
unless
of course,
for some reason Donovan West just makes a huge jump.
And we want to give everybody the clearance of saying that this is strictly before camp, before preseason, before anything. I haven't seen. I'm actually super excited.
We call it a plethora of decisions of good bad decisions. They've got good talent, but they have to make bad decisions because whoever they cut is going to be somewhere else easily.
I mean, yeah, because so as we go in, just listen to this. So obviously, Purdy or Nate Sutfield, but they're going to keep 2 quarterbacks. So you've got running back we'll get into later, but that's 4. Juice is going to be the Brandon Ayuk, Debo, and Juwan Jennings. So you still got 3 new receivers coming in.
Well, then it's going to be Danny Gray, I think, for sure. And then
Danny Gray. Ray. So you got really 1 receiver spot.
Yeah, you only got really 1 at the end. And I think we would go, if I had to, damn, I don't know who I'd pick for that 6th spot.
Well, and then I don't see Kittle Corrin, Ross Boss, and Charlie Warner. I don't necessarily see that changing.
Hudson Tanner. Or no, it wasn't him. Who was it that they brought over? Was it Taylor or Tyler?
So we kept 4 tackles. We kept 4 tackles last year that were Mike McGlinchey, Trent Williams, Jalen Moore, and Tom Compton. So you throw in who do you throw in at? So you keep Zakel? or Buford
To back
if he
him up?
shows enough. Well, just
Yeah.
saying that if he shows enough, Buford to show if he shows you enough to say, you know, you're gonna have some. You're gonna be our a primary tackle, but we're gonna want you some guard. Lego Tomlinson, Daniel Brunskill, and Aaron Banks. What you're taking in?
West.
And
See, that's
then
one of the things I love is that all these guys are so versatile. They can all play multiple positions.
so yeah, that's pretty much gonna be your roster. So yeah, or Zakel. You're probably gonna have Trent McGlinchey, Mike McGlinchey, Jalen Moore, Zakel, Lakin Tomlinson, or Daniel Brunskill, Aaron Banks,
Donovan West. Because Donovan West
Donovan
has
West.
played multiple possessions at Arizona, primarily center, but he
Then
has played other positions.
then Zakel, or then you got Jake Brendel at center.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically probably your offensive line right there. So you're really only switching out 1-2 spots or 2 roster spots, really.
Yeah, you would drop McKivitz in school and just slide in the younger guys.
They didn't
Or you
make
keep
the
either
53.
School or McKivitz, and then you have to make the decision between the rookies and you know, which one do you value more in hopes you can stash him on practice squad. And you play that game.
Yeah. It'll play out. It'll definitely be interesting to see. But I think Justin School, McKivitz, I think some of those, basically anybody left we got to talk about besides Jalen Moore, and Nick Zakel. So everybody else is I think out.
Yeah.
So, but it is going to be interesting.
It's my
Most
favorite
definitely.
battles going into camp is what we're going to be doing on the offensive line. Because there's a few different options we have.
Definitely. All right. We're about an hour or 7 in, so I think we can call it here. We'll get into well, Jason won't be joining us again until camp. But
Well, unless we change the show date.
yeah, well,
we'll talk
see.
about that later.
Yeah. Anyway, so I shall see y'all next week. We'll figure out when. We'll do a Tuesday next week, so at least I have a chance to get. If we decide to change the day, I can at least make an announcement.
But
so we
regular
shall
season,
see y'all.
We'll go back to Tuesdays.
We'll figure it out. I have to see if I can get a different day off of work.
Well, like I said, this is just until training camp. Once season starts, Tuesdays are going to be. We can go back to regular Tuesdays. Call it a summer special. Everybody's in summer school. Call it summer school.
Yeah. Once camp starts. Anyway, back to normal. Tuesday, your regular Tuesday schedule. Anyway. All right, y'all. Before we get out of here, here we go. I gotta get rid of those. Shop. Our Niner Faithful Radio affiliate link from shop49ers.com. All you have to do is click on the link in the description of the podcast or video. Go to cgiant.com. Use promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, and follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and at Niner Faithful R on Twitter. And lastly, thank you for listening to the end of the show. As promised, this week's discount code for all season 2 for the Faithful by the Faithful, 10% off, is season 2. 10% excludes any on-sale items and cannot be used with any other coupon code. Expires midnight, August 30th, 2022. Shall see y'all next week. Till then, faith, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and hair grease.
All right, give me a second, bro, to run the outro, and then I'll holler.
You are now listening to Iron Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
See ya.